So you ask and you shall receive. This is Velvet Valentine. This is the rhizomes right here. It's a little bit unhealthy. It also had some um, unhealthiness here, is like and rotting and molded. So generally you want to just cut it off, but here I'm just gonna leave it as is, because it's not gonna eat in the whole entire root. But this baby here, this needs to be in the soil and it needs to recuperate and rejuvenate. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put it in the pot because I know it's weak and it needs a lot of help because it has rotting here. This one you have to treat it special because you don't want the whole entire rhizome to get rotted, because if they get rotted, your whole entire plant iris is gonna go bad. So I am putting soil in a pot here, and I have to keep an eye out on this particular rhizome if I wanted to save it, because if not, the entire rotting process, it will actually hurt the rhizomes and it will rot out the entire plant, and I don't want that either because I am working hard to try to save them. So you don't want Another thing you don't want to do is to plant it directly on the ground. It might get to your other plants, your other rhizomes, and the disease will go to your other rhizomes. So you want to keep them separated. You want to keep an eye out on it. I think rotting comes from overwatering the rhizomes, and that could have been the cause of it. So how I plant this, I'm going to put the healthy part under the soil like so, and the rotting part I'm gonna leave it explode like that out of the soil because I don't want it to contaminate the soil and cause the rhizomes to get decay. When I water this little plant here, I'm gonna have to pay attention to the rotting part. If it rot too much, I'm gonna have to go in and I'm gonna have to remove it. But right now, I don't want to disturb the rhizomes, and I don't want to disturb the healthy part because the healthy part is trying to grow. So I'm just gonna leave the unhealthy part explode like that so I can see where the decay coming from. I'm gonna bury the rest of the rhizome so that way the plant has the nutrient, so that way it will grow and it will hopefully be healthy. I'm gonna put the tag into the pot so I know what it is. I'm going to put this in a semi-shaded area. Semi-shaded area meaning that it will get some sunlight, like 3 to 4 hours a day, so that way it will help this little guy grow quickly, and it will also help dry out the rot that it's got rotting here. So basically I'm gonna have to put it in an area where, so like a side of your house, right? Your side of your house, you have some sunlight here, some sunlight there, but it's not a full 8 hours sunlight. So that's what I'm going to do with this little plant. That way I don't spread the rotting to the other one. I have plenty of irises here. This is golden panther, and you ask, so you shall receive. I ask and I receive a lot of irises, which is a blessing, but it's also hard work, because you have to imagine, the more you have, the more you have to take care of, the more you have to water, the more soil you have to get for them, the more headache. So if you have an iris plant, yes, you always want more and more and more and more and more, but do you have the time of the day to spend with your family, your friends, or whatever? So those are the sacrifices that you have to take by having too much plants. And I do have a lot of plants. I am trying to cut back. So this here is the golden panther. This one has been was eaten by whatever, but it heals itself. It's actually doing okay. I am going, and it also has a little offspring here that has rotting. So the rotting is right here. As you can see, it's a little bit of smushy, smush, smush, smush. And what I did is I used my thumb and I basically take away the smushy part. And what I did is you can use cinnamon and sprinkle cinnamon on here, but I am not. I have cinnamon. I'm just lazy. I just take it out and just put them directly in the pot because I have two. I don't care if the small one did not survive. It sounds heartless, but at the end of the day, I I have too many. So this here, I'm going to do the same thing as I did with the other plant. I'm going to put it outside the house in a pot. It has some sunlight, but not as much sunlight. I'm just going to put the sign up in there so I know what it is. But this is golden panther. If this survives, great. If it doesn't survive, it's okay. I have this big one that I'm trying to save, and I think that will do okay. So again, here I have this one. It's a little bit tiny. It has some increases, like 1, 2, 3 increases that is trying to survive. This is Carousel of Dream. Now what we are going to also do is put this in the shade, in the pot, in the shades to nurture it back to health. And once it's get a little bit healthier, we can put it in the ground like the big ones over there, so that way it can fight the winter time. But as of right now, it's gonna go into a little pot, so that way it could rejuvenate, and during the winter time it have something that that it has its own space, and it's not so that way it can grow stronger for next year. Some irises do produce flower in the pot, but the flowers that is produced in the pot is smaller than the flower that it produced versus the one that you grow in the ground. Of course, because it doesn't have very much soil, it doesn't have nutrients. As it grows, it only contains itself to the pot. So with that being said, the plant doesn't produce large flower. You want it to produce large flower, you have to put them in the ground, and they need space. Unfortunately, I am running out of space, so this is where it's. As you can see, I do bury them. However, they are not deeply buried. You can just see that there is soil, that once you water, the soil may fall out. You can get a scissor and cut this, but because it only have one leaf, I'm not going to cut anything, because at the end of the day, it needs the leaf for it to attract sunlight and for it to grow. This one here, it's called Glycerema, and it's also a tiny rhizome too as well. I do have some unique irises here, but you can also see that there is rotting from overwatering and not enough soil. So basically this whole entire conversation is about rotting irises. Overwatering, not enough sun will actually create rotting, and it actually comes, look at even the root is rotting. So therefore you have to be careful to not water your irises if they are grown in pots. If they are growing pot, try not to overwater them because it doesn't have much drainage, and when it doesn't have a lot of drainage, it will actually rot out your rhizomes, and you won't have any irises. There are people that live in condos and in apartments, and they want to grow irises, they want to grow flowers. That's absolutely fine, but you want to make sure that the plant has drainage and don't overwater them. For example, if you have them all growing in pots, so do I, water them once a week or twice a week during the heat, during the hot sun. You don't want to overwater them because it's gonna rot them out, and when they are rotting out, they will die, and when they die, you won't have any plants. So, and also overwatering them will also, they will not produce flowers for you. So when you grow flowers, you want to have flowers, right? But if you overwater them, they will rot out and you won't have any flowers. So that's the strategy there. All of these irises that I've received, they were all in pots, and they were in pots. All of them were in 1-gallon pots, and they were being overwatered. So part of them are rotting out, and that's the reason why they're in my hand now. And yes, into another pot they go, but this pot will actually only keep them, I will only keep them in here for a little bit, and then I will take them out and put them in the ground as I dig out all my other irises to give away or to ship them out to those who want them. I do have a lot more. So this is wicked good. And as you can see here as well, this has been overwatered, and it has been, the root here, this root here is rotting. So this root here, rot, and the rhizomes is tiny. Reason for this is that they were left in a shaded area, they were overwatered, and the rhizome rot out, and it becomes very small. So with that being said, it's okay to grow them in a 1-gallon pot like what I am doing here, but try not to overwater them, and try not to keep them in an area where they have little sun, and then with little sun and overwatering them will lead them to root rot, and they will cause the rhizomes to not grow. So here I want to show an example. This is one of mine, 1-gallon pot. This is, even though he is in a 1-gallon pot and he is thriving, he is surviving, he is having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fan. That means he's happy. He is not overwater. He is right here. He is gigantic. Yes, he is being buried a little bit, but he's doing just fine. So by spring of next year, I'm going to take him out and put him in the ground, and then by then he will probably produce flowers. So generally, once I put them in the pot, save them like that, when they grow bigger, I am going to put them in the ground. Once I put them in the ground, they're going to be flowering in a large number. So I have a lot more to do. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. And that's the reason why I say to myself, do I want more irises? Do I want to collect any more? Even though they all have names, they all are nice. However, I am kind of tired of having very little weekends. And as you can see, these are the other irises that I have been working on saving. Here, this one is, this here is doing okay. Here is the rhizomes. This one is, what is this? Daffy Duck. It's black. This one is, the rhizome is also big. Everything is big. And here's another rhizome that's sticking up here. They are growing fantastically. They're doing great. But at the end of the day, I don't have any more space. I'm actually kind of exhausted of having to take care of too many plants. And I'm trying to mail some of them out to bless someone else with the irises, because this one is a nice one. It's syncopations, and this one is a nice one. Is a reality check. This one is a nice one. Springfield sunburst. Springfield sunburst. So all of the irises are nice ones, but at the end of the day, we all need a break, right? So you want to collect irises. You ask, you shall receive. I ask, I have a lot. And it's getting to be overbearing, and I don't have the space for them. And they're all scattered all over here. And Boundless Beauty is right here. This one is Boundless Beauty. So yeah, it's wonderful to have lots and lots of plants, but you also have to water lots and lots. And you also have to, I think with the Daffy Duck, I can put it on the ground. With a lot of plants, you also have to have a lot of water, and then a lot of time to take care of them. And basically, I don't have much time because I work, and I have my little family, and I need time to, relax myself. I think with the Daffy Duck, I have to actually dig a hole for it. I have to dig a hole, because I don't think it will just come. And I have to get this. Okay. And the more I have, the more my irises will struggle for space. So I think I should stop buying irises. I should stop buying irises and stop trading and stop accumulating more, because at the end of the day, I don't have the time. So I'm gonna put some new soil on top of the Daffy Duck. I may end up cutting back its fan because it's kind of long. But yeah, I need to put more soil on top of him and he'll be good to go. But yeah, I have too much.